Fear Zone, your channel of real horror stories. And now, let's go to today's account, which is from Mr. Pedro, and this happened to him in the city of Myuu, which is in Brazil, and at that time, that was in the year 2001, Mr. Pedro was 45 years old. And today I'm going to tell, when I came across head-on, the werewolf who attacked several ranches in my town. And it all starts like this. I work as a delivery man for vegetables and fruits for the Werewolfs of the city, and sometimes I make deliveries of loads of chickens as well, and I have a truck to do this kind of service. One day, I went to make several deliveries of loads of chickens in a neighboring town, and so I stopped my truck in several places that day, making the deliveries of the load of chickens, and when I finished the service, which was already the night, I ended up coming back at my house. With that, I was resting for a while and watching TV in the living room, and soon I slept. However, when it was close to midnight, I woke up and decided to wash the bucket of the truck to take away the smell of chicken. So I went to my backyard, which was a ranch with shed in the back where I kept my vehicle. Well, I climbed into the body of the truck and began to remove the empty wooden boxes, and this, when I looked at the bush next to the fence of the ranch, I saw something moving in the thicket, but as it was very dark, the vegetation, I could not see what it was. Of course, I was already on alert and looking around the bush, trying to see what that was. Even so, I kept working, removing the boxes from the top of the truck, and after a few minutes, suddenly, I heard some footsteps of something running near my truck. I went to look, but I stayed on top of the vehicle, and this I saw a creature hiding behind the head of my truck. I was startled, because it seemed to be the kind of huge dog, and his eyes were lit, and it was just watching me. I was surprised all this, for this animal was hiding from me, and it seemed that this animal was waiting for me to come down from the back of the truck so that it could attack me. With that, I did a test and pretended to get off the body of the truck, but to my surprise, the animal saw me, and he came out from behind the head of the truck and came running at me. However, I went back to the bucket, but the animal almost caught me. At this point, I was startled, but I looked around the truck, and the beast was already gone. Of course, I was worried about my family. I had to solve this quickly, and while I was thinking about what to do, suddenly, I heard a noise in the body of the vehicle, and when I looked, I was startled, because that beast had managed to climb fast in the body, and came running towards me. At this time, I jumped out of the bucket of the truck, and fell to the ground in a bad way, and when I went to get up to run, my leg was bruised, and I don't know if I had broken my leg, but my foot hurt a lot, but there was no way. I started running and went to hide in the back of the shed, and turned off the light of the place, and then I hid behind some boxes. Well, I didn't understand why the creature didn't chase me. I looked at the back of the truck, and I saw this creature standing, only on two legs, as if it were a man. Then I was more afraid, because for me, this beast was a werewolf. The fact is that this monster was pushing the wooden boxes from the body. Maybe he thought that there was some chicken on top of the truck because of the strong smell of chicken. And this, I kept thinking that luckily, because werewolf did not come after me when I ran away from him, because my leg was bruised because of the fall when I fell from the top of the truck. Looking again at the body of the vehicle, the werewolf got out of the bucket of the vehicle and disappeared, and as I could not see him, I began to worry about my family. And with that, I acted fast and took courage, and even limping with my leg, I ran to the cab of the truck and started the vehicle, and with the light of the headlight, I saw the creature walking standing near the door of my residence. I was afraid and frightened, because the door of my house was just leaning. I turned the vehicle in the direction of the creature, and with the light of the headlight, the creature was startled, and it got on 4 legs, and ran to the back of the ranch. At that moment, my dogs realized that something was wrong on the property, and they showed up. I got out of the cab of the vehicle, and ran to my house, kept calm, and told my wife that it was just an animal that invaded our ranch, and that nothing had happened, and that I only twisted my foot, but warned my wife that such a beast might still be in the yard. However, I took my shotgun and went into the living room, and sometimes I would look out the crack in the window, trying to find this creature, and I would shoot with the shotgun if I saw this werewolf, for he had made me angry, for he had surrounded the door of my house. Well, the hours went by, and the werewolf no longer appeared in my place, and soon the day cleared, and so I was more relaxed. Eventually, I became concerned that this creature was prowling my region at night, and that creature could kill anyone who crossed its path. So, I had to do something. I took my shotgun and various ammunition, and together with a neighbor, who was a friend, we went into the thicket to find the clues that led to this creature. Prowling through the woods, we saw a man sitting under a tree, and this stranger was passing some bandages on his arm, for he seemed wounded. We got close to this suspect, but he saw us, and this man went into the bushes of the woods quickly and disappeared. I was unhappy with that, for I was going to warn him of the creature, but then I saw a little blood on the ground, and it sure was from that suspicious man. After that we walked some more, but there was no clue of the creature, and with that my neighbor and I decided to go back to our houses, and we went back. At this I passed near a place, and saw an old redneck bandaging his dog. I knew this gentleman, and asked what had hurt his dog. The old man told us that he woke up to the noises of his 2 dogs fighting with something. Then he looked quickly out the window, and in this he saw a strange animal inside his chicken coop. So the old redneck went to get his gun, but when he came out in the yard, the animal was already gone. But then he saw his dogs injured from having faced the bizarre creature. Well, at that moment I thought of the wanderer in the woods. Because he was wounded, I asked this gentleman, who could be a man who had entrance in his yard, and the old man confirmed that it was an animal indeed. Of course, after that conversation, I went back to my house, but turning on the clues, I kept calculating that maybe that injured guy from the thicket was the werewolf that came into my ranch, and I may be right, because the suspect who was injured, I didn't see this man anymore. And it could be that the wanderer, turned into a werewolf, was injured by the old man's ranch dogs. However, the years have passed, but when I make truck deliveries, I stay alert when it is a load of chickens, and I leave my gun in the bag, because the smell of the birds attract the werewolf. Good guys, thanks for watching the video. If you liked the story, subscribe to the channel and leave your like, and also turn on the Tinkerbell notifications to receive new videos of creepypasta werewolf, werewolves, scary stories werewolves, true horror stories, audiobook werewolves, tales prevails, encounters werewolves, dogmen, skinwalkers, and more.